Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Salmons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Gözde Imamoglu, founder of Rising Yellow. Gözde works with individuals and organizations to help improve performance by focusing on something often overlooked: energy. Her work highlights that success isn't just about working harder, but about having the energy to sustain performance, make better decisions, and avoid burnout. Gözde, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm very much excited to be speaking with you today and to dive a little bit deeper into your journey. So, Gözde, with all of my guests, I do actually like to start at the beginning of their journey. So if you don't mind briefly taking me back to what it was you was doing before you started Rising Yellow, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Sure. So before starting Rising Yellow, I spent 15 years working in large organizations in the department of HR, especially in people and learning strategy, cultural change, also in technology, leading global projects and teams. So as you can imagine, during all those years, I kept actually noticing the same pattern in others as well. High-performing professionals pushing through, burnout, exhaustion, and actually believing this is how it's just supposed to be. And that was also my own story, overworking at the cost of my own health. And I hit a wall myself, and that experience actually pushed me to study the science of nutrition, functional medicine, and also behavior change later on. So I did this while still working in a corporate, basically build that aside. And that's what started Rising Yellow. When I saw that it really helped me to change, I wanted to also help others, basically to understand and get back their energy, build around daily healthy habits, so that they could actually enjoy a life they worked so hard to build. So that's the idea behind. And in the past 1.5 years now, I built a community of over 50,000 people across social and mail, and reach millions through the content on LinkedIn and coach professionals into lasting habits. And very recently published my physical journal called The Energy Shift that brings actually my coaching approach into something tangible that you can hold in your hands.
Nice. So it's evolved a lot, obviously, since you started, which is pretty cool, and we'll get a little bit deeper into that aspects as we move throughout the podcast. But yeah, so naturally yourself with the clients and the people you're looking to help, you've been in their shoes, you know what it's like, and I
Yes.
feel especially mainly and maybe all over the world. I don't know. I can only speak from living in Europe, but since COVID, I feel like a lot of people maybe had the same kind of awakening as you throughout your career. Where it's like, why am I? There is so much effort, so much of me that is going into this job. How do you kind of balance that out and make sure you are enjoying your life that you're looking to build, along the same times? I think it highlighted a lot of things for people, especially coming from that corporate world. It can be draining, it can be a big slug if you're not balancing your own health alongside what you are doing for your job. And I suppose, did you always see yourself becoming an entrepreneur? Is my leading question to that, or did that something that naturally developed, obviously, as your interest and then your own career did as well?
I think I always had that urge to create something and build something on my own. Like after 15 years, I'm actually very grateful for this journey now. As I reflect back, I wouldn't have learned anything I learned today on this journey if I would have stayed in corporate. Basically, you're wearing so many different hats as an entrepreneur and founder. One day you're content creator, other day you're like marketer, and then salesperson and tax operations, everything you can imagine. And all the new AI tools that actually really push me to learn and be very structured how I approach my health and my day. And basically, you feel like you are re-engineering every day and upgrading yourself every day. So yes, I had that urge. If I wouldn't have tried, I think I would regret this in the future, but I'm glad to be on this path now.
I love that. And I love the outlook that you take. As you say, as an entrepreneur, you are covering so many hats, doing so many different jobs within the business. You learn so much daily,
Yes.
and each hat has its own importance, as you say. Like one day you are a content creator, one day you're a salesperson, one day you're a coach. So it's so nice that you kind of find enjoyment in every aspect, because otherwise that can add to the burnout. If you're not enjoying what you're doing and not enjoying that process. I love the fact that you've managed to build those habits into your work and now into your life as well, which is a really cool aspect. So let's dive into Rising Yellow a little bit more, just so the listeners can have some context moving forward. So, Guzde, at this point in, who would you say like is your ideal client? Like, who is it that you very, very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how would you help them? And how would you support them along their own journey?
Yeah, actually, I like to put it this way. My ideal client is my past and current self. That's how I like to put it. High-performing corporate professionals, leaders, executives, founders, and now business owners, if I had to put it under a profile. Because that's how I feel I can serve best. I live that life and I know what it takes. But beyond that profile, it really comes down to mindset for me. My ideal client already knows that their health and energy really matter, and not just like how they feel, but how they show up in their business, their life, and that's how they can match their success to their, like, match their energy to their success. So they don't need my convincing. I think that's the biggest differentiator for me. So they are past that, and what they actually need is this accountability, someone on their side, someone who motivates them, someone who gives them clarity about where their health is going and what they want to achieve with it. So someone in their corner to help there. And also, as I mentioned, so when I say I really like to work with leaders is because they have a ripple effect. A leader who is energized, who is present, who is taking care of themselves, that doesn't just change their own life, but they can also change the life of their teams, their families, because the people around them role model this. So it's really important for me that I like help leaders, not only like individually, but also in companies. This is very important. I think we also need to talk in future. They have high leverage.
Yeah, I agree. And as you say, you get that nice kind of like one-to-many effect. You do get the trickle down throughout the organizations, especially if you are working with the teams directly or the leaders directly there and
Yes.
impacting, the environment you're in. It makes such a big difference when you're working in such a healthy work environment. You'll know yourself. So having that and allowing the leaders to provide that to their colleagues and obviously the people below them, that's a really cool aspect. Again, bringing it in play to everybody. So you mentioned that obviously the accountability is a big thing, and I love that because I feel like no matter where you are in coaching, whether you're a fitness coach, nutritionist, health and wellness, life coach, executive coach, accountability is that one thing I think most people are needing from their coach. Half the time,
Mhm.
yes, they might understand and know the work that they need to put in place, but it's just getting it done. It is that kind of when motivation lacks, it's that accountability that is there to really push you a little bit further and build that discipline that you're looking for. So how I know you work with obviously, as you said there, like leaders and obviously organizations or corporations. So what is your style, your approach? Like what is your methods that you take people through?
Mhm. Yes. So basically, when I then meet my ideal clients, so how we do is I meet them on a discovery call, basically understanding if they're a fit. But after that, it's really to understand what they want to achieve with their health goals. So
Mm.
I like to call it like taking their health as a strategic project, because what I want to understand is their personal vision of what it looks like and to feel well and energized. So that's the first layer of how I work, like really definition of their well-being strategy. Because I come from corporate and managing projects, I also want to take that approach to health and with the same seriousness. So that's what I do with clients as well. And from, let's say, the 6 months, 3 months goal, we really take it down to weekly experiments. I like to call it experiment because people like to do it more if there's a given timeline and that they
Yeah.
promise this to themselves and to me. So
Mm.
it's much more playful. There's nothing set in stone, but they see and they measure how certain activities and habits affect their energy and the way they feel. So that's how we approach this. And what I also really discuss is their values and character strengths. I think this is not discussed well enough because once we understand what we value in life and what's important to us in life, it's much easier to navigate challenges to come along the way, and they will come. So it's really to remember our why, our purpose, our strengths that made us the person we are today. So this is really helping. So again, in a nutshell, my approach is to make it as practical and hands-on as possible that fits to the person's lifestyle, because we know actually what's good for us, but we don't do it because we make it so hard that it's just not realistic anymore. So yeah, and what I also help is with, weekly check-ins, very on demand and hands-on, as I said. Let's say when they are going on a business trip or navigating a family event, okay, like we discuss and brainstorm all the strategies that help them, so that in the flow of life, basically. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, and I like so obviously as you say, you start from the beginning of the journey, making sure it's a good fit on both sides. I think that's so important, especially when you are working
Yes.
so closely with somebody. Not only to
Yes.
not waste their time, but even you're on the back of it. No, you can't help everybody in the world. So I like the fact that you're making that clear from the start.
Yes.
And then even from there, providing a very systematic approach, which is so important because it makes it clear for everybody. And as you just said there at the end, most people know what they're doing. It's just like where do you start, where do I start, how can I start implementing this like specifically for myself? So you're very much like cutting out that overwhelm and making it nice and clear and a nice easy plan for them to follow and hopefully integrate into their lives as well. And then even coming back and touching on their goals, you're very much like realigning with their version of success, making sure as you say, things are going to happen in your life. Like this can't be the solution forever, but at least we know how to navigate and keep you back on track because this is what you want. This is where your life is going,
Mm-hmm.
and you're happy with that outcome. There's nothing worse than working towards a goal and then getting to that goal and realizing it's not where you wanted to be in life. So having that clear from the start is so important. And now one thing I'm very curious to find out because naturally you know yourself, it's a very busy and very noisy world at the moment. So when you are wearing your marketing hat, like what is working well for you in just finding those right people to work with? Like what channels and methods are you really finding most effective in just finding those right people to work with? Good day.
Yes. So when I started on LinkedIn in the past 1.5 years, I started writing randomly about health tips and tricks. And
Oh,
I thought people would care, but they didn't. And what I shifted in my marketing strategy was then more talking about the root causes of those problems, which then led me to create a funnel on the top of the funnel, really addressing topics like workplace culture, leadership, and really drawing my ICP through that. That really helped me. And then in the middle, talking about habit change, energy management, healthy habits, but more tied into those again environments. And on the bottom of the funnel, then sharing some of my client successes, stories, also from myself, what I went through. I think this helped a lot.
yeah.
And also sharing once a week my free guides and guiding them through the newsletter. So that's what I have been trying from the marketing side on LinkedIn and very recently on Instagram as well.
Beautiful. A very similar approach on Instagram. I'm taking it. Naturally, they
Mhm.
kind of correlate very well. But yeah, as you say, providing people with knowledge, providing with the root cause is a really great one. Not just like the fluff around it, but like what is actually going on internally with you and how we can get to that bottom of that cause. And then, as you say,
Right.
using your own story. I think we're in a world where a lot of people are lacking trust or looking specifically for trust. So it's nice that you're providing your own story so they can very much resonate with you. Get an idea of what it's like to be in your world and then take it from there. Do you run any form of advertisements or anything, or is it just very organic with the content you are putting out?
Very organic. Yeah.
No. Awesome stuff. It's so cool. And then just obviously keep growing on that and moving forward. And do you have a team that are helping you out at all on the back end of things, or are you wearing all the hats, kind of covering the whole show yourself at the moment?
Yeah, mostly it's me at the moment. I
Okay.
have a virtual assistant helping me
Nice.
with LinkedIn side of things. I'm very grateful for that. So the next person I'm looking for is more on the conversion side. So I had an unexpected grow on Instagram in the last month. So this came very fast and I saw that how important it is actually to have a strategy around converting those DMs into my funnel. So and I realized this is a really different skill set. So what the next person I'm looking for is to onboard an appointment and DM setter. That's how I want to grow on the sales side of things, and also in the community. another health coach to help with the fulfillment.
Beautiful stuff. Yeah. As you say, the next part, and obviously in that funnel is converting those leads into sales. So that's a really cool piece to have in place. Naturally, a virtual assistant, I feel, must help you out a lot with those admin jobs
Yes.
with the business, just alleviating a lot of time for yourself. And I hope that will be a great next step for you as well. I think having an appointment center in place is a really cool prospect. I actually used to work as one myself, so I know how vital that is to the whole system. So
Yes.
it's really kind of cool that you're thinking about the future and putting that into play. And I suppose with all that being said, like what are your goals or your ambitions for the company moving forward? Maybe when you think of like the next 6 to 12 months ahead, what are those targets or those milestones that you're hopefully looking forward to achieving?
Yes, I will continue to grow my audience on LinkedIn for sure, but my focus will be on Instagram this year and newsletter growth. So that's
Awesome.
number one, and continue to develop webinars and free resources. So I really feel like I should step into more also in-person events. So not only webinars, so basically like events category, virtual and in person. That's what I will look into in the funnel as well. Because I really enjoy this and I feel like people should get a sense of working with me, how I take and what they can all learn. So that's number one. Number two is creating the Energy Shift community as an evergreen flagship program, not just a 6 or 8 weeks program. People can come in once they sign in, so they will really meet like-minded people who will be alongside them and support them with my weekly master classes and experts, guests that I bring in. So that's number two. And number three will be the international launch of my Energy Shift journal. That's what I will be focusing on this year. So the first batch validated the idea, and now next going in to grow more in Europe and US market on
Beautiful. I
Amazon.
love it.
So e-commerce is completely new, and that's what I'm diving into.
Yeah, e-commerce is a very different kind of it's not because it's very similar to coaching, but it is a very different approach when you are
Yes,
kind of on that business mindset of things with e-commerce. So that's cool that you're dabbling in that. And as you say,
yes,
getting the journal global must be a great achievement for you and just keep expanding on it wherever you can. I feel like, and as you said, we're leaning into events. I feel like you've done well with the digital marketing and just keep growing that side of it and then adding kind of more the personal and
yes,
touch will be a really great environment, to introduce people to your ecosystem naturally as well. Great for content, you can show what it's like to work with you, add that onto your testimonials and really portray that online. You get a really nice double-edged sword when you are in
yeah.
events and just staying top of mind of people, which is really cool. I suppose, Guzde, where are you probably finding the biggest challenge for yourself at the moment within the business or even kind of achieving those goals for yourself?
I guess as we discussed, wearing too many hats and constant context switching. So as I mentioned, so when I'm moving from content creator to operational person, I lose focus and I lose that spark. So I think when I onboard the next person on the sales side of things, and in the next phase also the operation, so I can really focus on what I'm good at, the coaching
Nice.
side, the fulfilling side, and also the content side. I really enjoy that, the creative side, and creating new products as well.
Yeah,
So that's the biggest challenge, and the conversion is, as we said, because it's totally different skill set.
yeah,
And I guess many other coaches are facing similar challenges. So that's
it
what
is.
I feel at the moment.
I completely agree. And it kind of goes back to the earlier conversation we had about being an entrepreneur. There's always new skills to learn. And it
Yeah.
is just one of those new skills to learn. It's kind of just taking it by the chin and hopefully running to the hills with it. But yeah, and naturally, I think that sales process is a lot of places where people struggle. So like, again, just building on top of that and taking it to the next level will
Yes.
help you out in achieving those goals. And there's one final question, Guzde, to ask you before we log out. So if you could go back in time to a younger self and you could only leave yourself with one piece of advice moving forward, something you know now, but that you didn't know
Mm.
back then, what would you say to yourself?
Um, I would say, I guess everybody's timeline is different. So that's something I really wish I understood earlier because I really spent years like feeling I'm not enough. Like I had to work maybe twice or 3 times more harder to prove myself. So that comparison trap is, I think, really tiring and it's a big distraction. So if you see someone living the life you want, take it as an inspiration and not like a distraction. And look at them and say, okay, Good for them. How can I?
Yeah,
And then look inward and do the work. Don't give up and trust your own path because everybody has their unique skills and tap into that. Believe in yourself and continue putting the work. That's probably what I would say to my younger self.
I love that. And what a beautiful way to end the podcast. And Gizde, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
They can for sure reach out to me on LinkedIn, Gözde Imamoglu. Just connect with me. I would love to see your DM or connection. So let's take it from there. And really, really appreciated the discussion. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. And thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate your time today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to go and check out Guzde, as she just mentioned, on LinkedIn. Please drop her a message, check out her Instagram. I'm sure she would love to hear from everybody. And do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from zero to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing and we will see you on the next one.